Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ella and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the 5 tips that every student should know at university. Now when I was planning this video I was thinking about the deepest, most fundamental tips that I would tell someone before going to university. The things that I wish I had known and things that now I do know, they are making my university experience a whole lot better. Now just before we get into this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to join my little YouTube family that we've got going on here. I would love to have you, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So my first tip is to always ask for student discount in every single shop you go to. That's right, every single one. Even the really weird, peculiar ones where you think there wouldn't be a discount, there probably is. Now I was actually really pleasantly surprised when I started doing this. I found that most of the shops that I was going to, even places like Pierce's and cafes and restaurants, drinks bars, coffee shops, a lot of them do have student discounts, but a lot of the time they're not actually advertised. Even in bars and stuff, like at the bar I work at, we have loads of student discounts, but you have to show your student ID for us to charge you the student prices. So I would always recommend before you buy anything anywhere just to say like, hey, I'm a student, do you have any discounts available or any deals on offer, especially for students? This can save you so much money in the long run, and I feel like because we're only students once in our lives, this is the time to make the most of the discounts, So my second tip is actually really important, and it's something that I wish I had known at the start of university, and it's that going to things on your own is what you're meant to do. Now at school I was always one of those people that they'd only really do something if their friends were doing it with them. So if I wanted to go to say art club or drama club, I'd always want a friend to come do it with me. I don't even know if it's for moral support or whatever, or maybe I was just too scared to rock up on my own in case I didn't know anyone. But honestly, it's so healthy to go to things on your own. And at university, even though no one really tells you this, you are completely supposed to rock up to things not knowing anyone, not having any other friends there. That's kind of the whole point. And also, like, the likelihood of you living with someone who has the exact same interests and hobbies that you do is very unlikely. So you will end up missing out on things if you don't just bite the bullet and go to things on your own. It is definitely scary, and I still get a little bit anxious and a little bit scared when I first rock up to things on my own, but the more you do it, the better you will get at it. And actually it is one of those things that once you do it once, it gets a lot easier. So just bite the bullet, go to things on your own, and I promise you that your university experience will be so much better. This does not just apply to societies and stuff. I also think it's really important to just be able to have days out on your own, like going to a cafe on your own, going to have dinner on your own, going to the cinema. Like, anyone who judges you for going to somewhere on their own is clearly very insecure in their own lives, because why does anyone else care what you're doing? Do you know what I mean? If you're having a good time, you're enjoying your own company, then you know what I mean? Like, life's good. So my third tip is to understand that making friends at university and making friends at secondary school are two completely different things. At secondary school, you tend to have sort of like a group of friends that you hang around with most of the time. You might have friends in other places, but a lot of the time you tend to have sort of cliques and groups, and it's all that kind of thing. And a lot of the time that is where tension arises, because you've got all these groups and sometimes you get people left out and sometimes you have conflicts. But at university it's just really not like that. Like, cliques are just not a thing, at least not in my experience anyway. Like, all of my best friends are from different places and different groups. Like, I have friends in like so many different groups and so many different places. I don't have like one group that I always go out with. I have lots of different groups that I go out with, and I think that's really healthy. Now, I'm not saying to just have like lots of acquaintances and loads of friends. I think you should still build meaningful friendships and spend a lot of time with your best friends, but I just think that it's good to continuously keep putting yourself out there and continuously keep trying to introduce yourself and make friends. I just think it's a really good practice for the real world, and it keeps it more interesting and fun as well. If you have lots of different friends from different places, then it just keeps it interesting, because otherwise it gets boring if you spend all your time with the same people. Okay, number 4. I hope my professors aren't watching this, but you actually do not need to do all the reading. Seriously. And that is coming from an English student. An English literature student is telling you that you do not need to do all the reading. Now, especially in humanities and arts degrees, you do get set an unholy amount of reading, and honestly it can be very intense. But now I am in my 3rd year at university, and honestly I've never done all the reading for one module, and that's just like, honestly, I haven't. But I still managed to achieve firsts and 2-1s despite that. And there are ways of sort of accessing all the information without having to, you know, schlep through all of the books and the reading that they give you. And I'm gonna just impart some of my tips now, just then you know, and so, you know, you're starting your uni experience knowing these things so you don't waste your time like I did. Now, my first little tip for reading is to search for keywords. I think on the Mac, it's like Command F, I want to say. If that's wrong, I'm really sorry, I'll put it on the screen. But you can literally go on any web page or any document, any PDF, and just Command F and search for something. You can search for a keyword. Let's say your essay is about, I don't know, feminism. You can literally search a whole book for the word feminism, and then Bob's your uncle. All you have to read are the parts that have that word, or at least find the chapters that have that word, and then that just condenses your reading so much. Just branching from that, also look at like chapter titles and contents pages. They are an absolute lifesaver when you're writing essays, because it just means that you don't have to like read through and skim through the whole book. You can literally just cut to the page that you need and have it over and done with. And finally, one of my other biggest hacks is to read other people's essays about your topic and look at their bibliographies and look at the people that they quote, because a lot of the time essays are shorter than books and essays are more accessible than books. They're normally written by other students, and so you can see how they've included the information, you know, what parts of the books that they focused on, because you can actually see they've referenced it with like the chapter titles and everything. And honestly, it cuts down so much time. I'm not out here saying like plagiarize and copy them, but taking inspiration from their sources is a really good way of accessing the information without having to do all the groundwork that you usually would have to do. And my fifth and final tip is to know that no uni experience looks the same. Now, something that not many people talk about is that, you know, uni is romanticized very much so in films. You know, I was thinking about like The Kissing Booth, and you know, it's just so romanticized how he's going off to college, to Harvard, and it's all like he's partying with his friends, and he immediately makes this amazing group of friends, and you know, immediately gets into his studies and and it's just not that simple for so many people. And I think that's really important to talk about. You know, you always hear about how you're supposed to have a wild freshers and you're supposed to instantly make like hundreds of friends, and like every day you're like meeting up with a new friend, and it's just like constant. You know, sometimes the reality is that uni can be kind of lonely, which is kind of sounds a bit weird for me to even say on here, because nobody ever talks about it. But actually, you know, for some people it can feel incredibly lonely. I mean, especially right now with first years and freshers, with the limitations on being able to socialise, I could imagine that for a lot of people it's an incredibly lonely place to be. And I just want to say that to those people, you know, don't worry if your uni experience isn't living up to how you think it should be, because every single uni experience looks different, and it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're not going to have an incredible time or excel at university. It just means that your experience is different, and especially in the climate we're in right now with COVID and the pandemic, that is totally normal and understandable. And I just want to say that, you know, give it time and be patient and trust in yourself. Keep putting yourself out there. I know I sound like a broken record, but it really is the way to do it. You just need to put yourself out of your comfort zone, go to things, and just know that the reality of university isn't what it appears to be, you know, in books, in films, and even YouTube sometimes, you know. And with that, I'm going to round up today's video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you would like a notification every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, then my handle is @ella.houghton. Follow me on there for all the most up-to-date information on what is going on in my life, and follow me on TikTok. My handle is @ella.houghton, and the last O is a 0. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!